I think having that student voice, and it's sad to say right now, not being afraid to do this work is how we're going to continue to create these necessary and safe spaces, or as safe as possible spaces for Black girls.
Hey, I'm at the top of my game. I'm who they hate. This shit come with the fame. That's how I knew that I made it. I woke up looking this good. I'm in my prime. These niggas gotta get played. If these bitches ain't mad, I need to go harder. I can't let them think we the same.
Hey everybody, we are back and we are still in season 2. I think season 2 is going to probably be longer than season 1 because I have so many like amazing guests that are lined up that I cannot wait to share with you all. But for those that don't know, I'm Dr. K, your hot girl professor. My pronouns are they, them, Beyonce. Yes, I know we have feelings about Beyonce because of capitalism, but the work ethic is there and I have that work ethic. Okay. I am a online gender-based violence scholar and researcher, and I have been studying misogynoir, particularly the digital misogynoir, for a decade now. And for those that don't know what misogynoir is the anti-Black racism and sexism that Black women experience because they are Black and women. This is not just specific to just cishet women. This includes non-binary folks, agender folks, and gender expansive people as well. Misogynoir is a term that was coined by Dr. Moya Bailey. So if you want to learn more about it, you can check out some of my other videos. You can also check out my Substack as well, where I have some articles on it. And you can also always go buy Dr. Moya Bailey's book, Misogynoir Transformed. So I'm super excited about today's guest because I be feeling like I do be feeling like Beyonce because like all my friends are also Beyonce. So it's like, ooh, I'm going to get the Beyonce of X, Y, and Z on my show. So this is like the Beyonce of school counseling. So by the time you all see this episode, they will be Dr. Christina Tillery. Ooh. So future Dr. Christina Tillery is a community scholar, a researcher, and a school counselor extraordinaire. Also one of my best friends. Oh, my headphones. Oh, well, I got one in. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. There's your behind the scene right there.
Yeah, that definitely. Wow. So we're going to start off with an icebreaker question. And my question is, if you were a rapper, what would your rap name be? And what would be the name of your debut album?
Oh my gosh. I was in a rap group called Two Lines with my line sister, and we had performances. First of all, we performed at the Africana Studies Talent Showcase. But so also I was in spoken word, like, you know, it was the 2000s. It was Richmond. So some dude named me Lady Silhouette. So let's stay with that. Actually, he probably should go to jail. That's a whole nother story. But what would be my debut rap album name? I don't know. The Rebirth. I just feel like, yeah, that sounds like more of a comeback album name. But I think we're just in the a lot of things are happening right now, and how we emerge from it. That's going to be the Rebirth. Yeah.
So would you be like a conscious rapper like Common, or would you be like a trap rapper like Moneybagg Yo, or would you be like Tizo Touchdown? Like a little
I love Tizo. Shout out
I know
to
you do.
You love Tizo. I think I would be I think I would be a little bit more like common sense, because there's a line that he has, and I want to say like it's the Make Her Say remix with like Kid Cudi, and he's like, I bring the party and like the consciousness. I think I'd like to be both. Like you can be conscious and have fun still, because life is short. So it would be a blend.
I love that.
Yes, the Rebirth.
That. Okay, Lady Silhouette. So let's go ahead and jump into the first question. Can you define adultification bias for those who may not be familiar with it, and speak to how misogynoir plays a significant role in it?
Yeah, I think with adultification bias, it's best to keep it simple and plain because the way we experience it is simple and plain and very prominent in our lives. So, adultification bias is when children are treated and perceived as more adult like. And this particularly impacts Black youth, but especially Black girls. Black girls are at the root of being seen as older, more mature. I think the Georgetown Law Girlhood Interrupted study really introduced a lot of us to this term, to the impacts and effects of it. And when I think about connecting it with misogynoir, it really just deepens that stereotype that people have about Black girls. And in that Georgetown Law study and report, when they interviewed, I want to say it's like a couple hundred adults from 18 to late 60s, these adults viewed Black girls as more sexual, knowing more about sexual topics, needing less help, not as vulnerable as their white counterparts. And so going back to misogynoir, it's like a double down on the stereotypes and the treatment. And then what is the impact of that? Black girls receive more discipline for the same infractions, right? It's not that they're behaving worse than, but even for the same infractions as their white counterparts, even their Black male counterparts, they're still receiving twice as many discipline infractions. We also see it in the medical field. There's an adultificationbias.org website with numerous personal stories of folks. One story that I always remember from that website is how someone was treated by their doctor. They had their first intimate experience with their long-term boyfriend. I want to say that they said they were in their early 20s. And the doctor was just hounding, well, this wasn't your first time, or you probably had multiple partners. And she was just so distraught. It was like, no, I just came to learn more about my body, learn how to take care of myself now that I'm in a sexual relationship. And to have her doctor just kind of put all of these stereotypes and these assumptions on her. So there's so many different ways within any of these systems that we can see adultification bias play out. I always think about my personal experience. I never always got oh, you're so much short for your age. Oh, you're such a little lady. You're such a young adult. And when I would, very small, mess up, you should have known better. You should have known better. But I'm 8 just like everybody else in the class. Like, what do you mean? I should have known better, especially growing up in a very rural school where I was one out of probably 3 Black girls in my class. So, but yeah, that was a long answer to.
No, I mean, I answered the question fully. And I think that is good that you also give examples because the next question literally goes into that. So I like to talk a lot about the historical legacies of violence against Black women and girls. When I'm talking about misogynoir, I often, especially to my students, explain to them that misogynoir is a new term, but the experiences are not new, and they have been happening since enslavement, right? Because Black women were not seen as human. They were seen as these ungendered, monstrous beings that were only good for sexual pleasure and to build out the workforce, right? So historically, what are some instances of misogynoir that further endangers young girls and young femmes?
Yeah, I think going back to that hypersexualization of Black girls, and as you said, during the slavery, where we see that Black girls and Black women did not have autonomy over their bodies. They were seen as a product to produce pleasure and also to produce more bodies, more product. And what we see today, is this balance of owning yourself, owning your sexuality, and still kind of fighting against these preconceived notions that folks have about Black girls and Black women. Another, I think, just really prominent example is the school to prison pipe knot line. I think about Dr. Monique Moore's book, Push Out, the criminalization of Black girls. And I think that was wow, she really put into words for me what I was seeing as a baby teacher, and then as a baby counselor, is how easily it is for Black girls to get involved in the juvenile justice system without any empathy, without any support. And so it's just such a dark stain on our history that Black girls and women have to continuously to fight. I know you talk with your students a lot about like the tropes. We talk a lot about the strong Black woman trope. There is a strong Black girl trope. I just cited in that dissertation, that chapter 5, that even with my student researchers that I got to work with, these wonderful young ladies, very high achieving, but have already adapted and adopted some of these strong Black girls tropes. I have to save my peers. I have to be the one leading the change. It's so much pressure that they've already put on themselves to fight the ills of this world at such a young age.
Yeah.
And so I think, the historical foundations are there, and they're continuing to like just show us. And it's just great. It's just wild. I'm working on my own language. It's just wild to see it like play out in real life. Like I said, just going back to working with my student researchers, I'm just like, wow, anyone would see that. Oh, they're so mature. They're so resilient. Why should they have to be so mature and resilient at 15? Why do they feel like, one of my student researchers, I see her a lot too now, but she was so adamant about starting a small group, mental health group for the Black boys in her school, which is great and wonderful. But she felt so much already pressure, I guess I would say, that, okay, I also have to save my Black male counterparts at this younger age. And there's something there for me. I haven't figured out how to fully articulate that in words, but to see this young girl already take on the responsibility of saving her people, it really just, I don't know, it shook something in me.
Yeah. I definitely have witnessed that, and we do talk a lot about those stereotypes and controlling images, and we talk a lot about this idea that Black women are here to be of service. And a lot of Black women feel as though in order for them to be seen as valuable and worthy, that they have to be of service to other people, whether that is being on the front lines, leading social justice movements, protecting other people, right? So that definitely ties into what you were talking about. And then the last question is, how can adults create safer spaces for young girls and mitigate the harms that are happening due to adultification bias and misogynoir in the K-12 school systems?
Yeah, so when I talk about my research and also just my practice, what I lead with is student voice. In K-12 and a lot of our institutions, it's all about bringing all the partners and stakeholders together. But we leave the students out of these conversations, or it's very surface level, like they'll be on an advisory council or a superintendent board, but really bringing in students and telling us what it is that they want to see. That was the whole, I guess, purpose of my dissertation. What is it that y'all want to see in the schools to help you and your peers with mental health? And then where the challenge is now is, okay, we have their voice. How do we take their voice that leads to actual sustainable implementation? So I would say definitely any adults that are working in the K-12 space or the community youth space, not only bring the young people to the table, if you want to learn more about youth participatory action research, where they can really get into a research question and they're pulling out data, whether it's surveys, we use photo voice from my project, maybe they're doing their own focus groups with their peers. But once they collected that data and organize it and analyze it, how do we then help put policies and practices in place based off what they are recommending? And I think that is where the harder part is. It's like, okay, we have your voice. Thank you for joining my advisory council. But are you really listening to them by putting those changes in place? And I think that's where we're going to get those true safe spaces. Another person was I was chatting with somebody on Threads. Another term that I'm really starting to like too, I need more knowledge about, is like necessary spaces. Because can any space truly be safe? but there are necessary spaces that we can create for Black girls in these institutions. And more so now than ever, we already see that affinity groups are being attacked by far-right parental groups. We're seeing that happen in DC public schools, where someone has, one of these far-right groups have already file a complaint against DC public schools for having an affinity group that's after school geared towards empowering Black girls. A hot mess, child. Yeah, I don't want educators, whether school counseling, teacher, administrators, we cannot obey in advance. This work is still important. It's still very needed. So, I tell people all the time, I'm not trying to get you fired from your job, but you need to learn how to work it within your system and keep doing this work. So I think having that student voice, and it's sad to say right now, not being afraid to do this work is how we're going to continue to create these necessary and safe spaces, or as safe as possible spaces for Black girls.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone yesterday. Oh, I did a speaking engagement at, I think it was University of Denver, I can't remember, they have like a neurodivergent group, and then they have like a group for like women in femmes. And I was talking about disability justice and gender-based violence. And at the end, it was open up to questions. And one of the students had asked me about like how do they like hold people accountable and social movements and stuff as a white person. And like, I told them, I said, I said, one, don't know your experience because that has never been mine. But I also told them, I said, like, you have to be scared, but do it anyway. And that's kind of how I've always led when it came to organizing and activism, is like, I am literally, and people probably think I'm joking, but I will literally risk it all for Black girls and Black women. I will, because at the end of the day, there aren't a lot of people who will do that. So like you said, like, I'm not trying to get you fired from your job, but like, what are your principles? What are you standing on? Right? Like, what do you truly believe in? And like, what type of action are you willing to take? And I think that with the current climate, I know a lot of people are worried because obviously, like, you have bills to pay, you have, mouths to feed, but like, as someone who has always been, always gotten in trouble for being outspoken, I can honestly say that like the consequences are not as bad as you think they are, and the consequences are not going to stop you from pressing forward and moving forward in life. Like, you can pivot, but a lot of people are afraid to do that, which I understand. But like, if you really care about Black women and girls, especially young girls, you have to be fearless. You have to be scared, but do it anyway. Like, you have to. There's no like teetering the line. There's no like, well, I have to be politically correct. No, we're not, especially right now, we're not in a space for that. Like, we're not in a space to be
politically correct right now.
Yeah, there's no such thing as that. Like, you have to be okay with saying like, you know what, I believe in this and I'm going to go as far as I need to go, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about that there's been proud educators before us. I'm thinking of Julia Cooper, Mary McLeod Bethune. There's been wonderful examples of Black women taking care of Black girls and Black youth, especially through education. And to me, like, that's my foundation. Like, they did it. I can do it. And even more so now, that whether you feel how folks might feel about social media, whether you're more exposed, like one of my events that I had at my former school work is on a far right parental group. But like you said, the consequences are they put that event, it was for Black Lives Matter at School Week and National School Counseling Week. That was 2023. February 2023, the week of events. I didn't find out that I was on there our school events weren't on their website until October 2023. That's great. No one knew. My team, we didn't know. My principal didn't know. So all it was just a, I guess, a sounding board of this is what's happening in the school district that my kid probably don't even go to the school. But they had screenshot when we had our school counseling Twitter page. They screenshot it and put it. This is happening at blank blank school in Virginia. Fuck all haters. But nothing happened to me. Didn't even know about it. Didn't. What? That's about 7 months almost.
Yeah, the consequences are not as extreme as people think they are. And also, another thing is like, I stay with multiple jobs. You know this about me. Y'all might not know this about me because y'all don't know me, but I stay getting a bag. But I have like backup plans for like if something was to happen and somebody was going to get me fired from my job, which is really almost impossible because the work that I do aligns with my personal beliefs. So It's like, and I've had people try to get me fired from my job.
Yeah.
So like,
and it was like,
they were like, okay,
we hired them. Like what are you saying?
Exactly. Like I have backup plans. Like I know where I can work if shit really hit the fan. Like I have my backup plans of places that I know that I could easily navigate into. Now it won't be glamorous. It may not be as like lucrative as some of the other things that I'm doing, but it will be something that I enjoy, and it will also allow me to continue to be able to take care of myself. And I think that, like you said, like it was a 7 months where you didn't even know you were on there and nothing came from it. Like I think that like because of like cancel culture and just in general, like people being afraid, I think that it's easier to get people who are racist and homophobic and transphobic fired from their jobs than it is to get someone who is standing up for the rights of Black and brown people who are in their environment. Like, I feel like it, and I could be wrong, but that's how I feel from what I see, at least.
Right.
So I really appreciate you kind of giving, the example of really like putting the students' voices first, and then based on what they need, building out policies and laws and processes, because I think a lot of times we think we know what students need, and we do not. And that's why it's important to have those conversations with them and allow them to be leaders in that way and advocate for themselves with the support of adults.
Yeah. I have accepted the fact that I'm no longer a child, even though in my head I'm just a girl. But no, things have changed so much. And even when I think about when I was a teacher, those young people are now like parents. And so so much has happened in the past 12, 13 years that these kids they just have new experiences, things I've never dealt with. I had one of my student researchers. She was like, well, how was growing up in the 2000s? It always looked so cool on TV. And I was like, girl, calm down. But I mean, she right. Tell my students, especially after maybe a physical interaction or altercation had happened, I was like, I feel like even that was so different back in like the 2000s. You might have saw a fight, you might have been in a fight, but then it was kind of over. Whoever won, whoever lost. I said now you all have like recordings. It's going to get posted on Instagram. Different schools got fight pages, and so you continue to relive, unfortunately, that traumatic experience. And that keeps egging things on. So yeah, we need to hear from them. Because we are not living this experience. We might think, oh well, yeah, I'm on TikTok. I got social media too, just like the kids. No, you don't. I hope you're not using it like the kids are, but it's just completely different. So it doesn't make sense to me as any educator or adult that worked with you to not have them at the table.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming and chatting with me. I'm really excited about this episode because I think that people don't talk about adultification and misogynoir. A lot of people associate misogynoir with adults, but it does impact young Black girls and femmes as well. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Follow me on everything, Dr. Coghill. Also, by the time you all see this, I will have launched Hood Rat Scholarship. You should look into that. I will have also have launched my Patreon by then. So if you want to see any of the behind the scene footage of these interviews and other things, definitely check out my Patreon. But other than that, I will catch y'all on the flip side.